Hello, family and friends. It is 4:31 and you've made it through this part of your day. Thank you and be grateful. And you've made it through this part of your life and I'm glad that you're here. Today, let's jump into it. I keep talking about transformation. I keep talking about space of change. I keep talking about innovation and stepping into our innovative space. And I may repeat this in just a moment, just when folks start to catch up, because not everyone gets on right away. The things go out there and it says that I'm going live, so I will back up on this in just a moment. But I look out the window. I just was outside with the kids. We were having a great time goofing off outside in the bright sunshine. It's a gorgeous day out today. It feels like spring leading into summer, and that is fantastic. That's my happy space. Loving it. I also had this afternoon had a wonderful chat with a good old friend, Super Dave, who hey David, sorry. Thank you for joining me here. It was great. And one of the things when I walk during the day, I when I walk the dog, I that's my time to reconnect. I call that my reconnect time. But I'm walking the dog, and I go through my phone and I find people that I have not connected with some months, some years, some decades, and I'm just reaching back out to say, hey, you are you are in my contact list and you're in my heart. Um, so that space. So I will get into talking about this space. You hear me talk about transformation, you hear me talk about innovation and stepping into you and finding that full you, which you bring into that space of transformation and acceptance in that space. There are many of us who have gone through life with goals that we haven't achieved, that are moments of success that we haven't gained, and setbacks. Some of those are self initiated. And so we're going to step into that space there. How do we get to our goals? And so you won't hear me talk about unattainable goals because I believe that every goal is attainable. You want to jump to the moon, you're going to work for it. And it is attainable. And I'm not going to be the one who's going to say, no, that's not doable, because you just might be the person who's going to do it. You might put your mind to a space that makes that possible. And my job as a resource is helping you to put all the pieces together. The only reason it hasn't been done yet is because no one has gotten all those pieces together. You might be that person. But how do we get there? It's more than just goal setting. Because for most of you, when you talk about the goals that you, uh, pardon my squeaking and all that stuff, is getting the proper words, getting words that are really health, speaking to what's going on in a healthy way. When you have the goals that you haven't accomplished, the ones that frustrate you, the ones that you may be angry about, or the ones you regret, or you have some disappointment with, those goals, what is stopping you? Is it fear? Is it an unattainable obstacle? What is really stopping you? Now, when I talk about fear, uh, let me really dig deeper into fear. And by digging deeper into fear, I constantly talk about love, being loving and open. The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is fear. If you hate someone, then you care about them. And you go, what? How's that possible? If you hate someone, you care about them. And that caring is a part of that loving. So hate and love are very close. Because when you hate someone, you're expecting better of them. We don't have expectations for things we don't care about or things we dread or loathe. We have expectations for things we do care about. And that is a part of the loving process. Fear. If you fear something, when somebody says, I had to shoot him down because I was afraid that he was going to do, when you fear something, you take it out of the realm of humanism. It becomes a thing. And we have our possessions, but we don't love things as we love people. We can we can destroy something that we fear because we fear it. We have rationalized that is in a different space than we are, and it is in a different realm than we are, and we need to remove it from our space by eliminating it completely. Now, some people do that with humans. Some people do have a fear of certain humans, and I really believe that we don't have a problem with systemic racism. We have a prop. We have a inheritance of fear. We pass it on generationally. We pass it on communally. We pass it on um, systemically. Fear of the other, uh, and so how do we attain our goals? We identify the fears. We identify those obstacles so that we can work past them, through them, around them, eliminate them. And when I say eliminate, I'm not talking about killing and destroying, but what are the obstacles? And that the biggest obstacle I find is fear. And I know for myself, and it took me a while to speak this out clearly because it sounded so stupid. My biggest fear was success. I wanted success, but my biggest fear was success. And why? The reason why I feared success is because I was already feeling lonely. And if you look, there's only one person who stands on the podium with the gold medal. Everyone else is down below, they're beneath them. And that's a loneliness, is to stand there in that place of success. There's only one winner. I'm a team player. I want to bring everybody with me. I want to. It's funny because I read one of my greatest individual things in high school was I wrestled. Wrestling is individual. There's one person against one person on the mat. But what I really loved about it was that my one person, when I wrestled my thing, it was a point system. So our team, I actually lost a match, but I lost it by 1 point, which meant our team won. If I had gotten pinned, we would have lost by more than one, and their team would have lost. So even though I lost, I was looking at the team. I said, I'm not getting pinned, even though I knew I was up against a opponent that was more skilled than I was. But I wasn't afraid of losing. I was concerned about how I went in that loss. And the loss turned out to be a win. So what is it that you're afraid of? What is it? So like I said, for me, it was success. I didn't want the loneliness of success. You say, but what? I didn't want the loneliness of success because I saw that as a very lonely space. I didn't see how I could share success with someone without it sounding, you share success. And some people, it sounds like gloating. It sounds like you're not sharing, you're just showering me with your ego. And so a lot of, I had to overcome that. Why? What? And I would sabotage myself from winning. I, when I knew that I was more skilled or a better athlete at certain things, I didn't always win. And I didn't always want to win. I wanted to compete and I wanted to participate and I wanted to take place in that. And I looked at some of the things that I've done business wise and how I've sabotaged those things, not for the same reasons. Part of those was because I didn't want to expose myself. You've heard me say, and you've heard others talk about that imposter syndrome. I don't feel like I belong. Even though when I have the skills to accomplish the steps and get to the places, I would wind up stopping myself from accomplishing what I wanted and what I needed because of fear of what it would be in that space that I didn't understand yet, of being in a place of power that I didn't know that I was ready for. I didn't want to lead. I didn't want to be a leader. Even though I led, I didn't want to be a leader because the leadership position in the front of the crowd, the top of the pack, is such a lonely space. I enjoyed giving my input as a part of one of the foot soldiers to the leaders, even incompetent leaders. I would help them greatly, even with their incompetence, because I felt my power was with the team. And it wasn't until I had team members saying, no, 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 you need to lead because that leader doesn't know what they're doing, that I started to lead, that I started to step in that space of leadership, that I started to take that position, that I started to push myself past my own fears of loneliness. And that loneliness is a weird thing. How can you be lonely with a group? I could, because loneliness is a feeling, is a sensation. It's not about being alone. It's about what that sensation is of loneliness. What are your fears? And how do we move past them? The first thing is identifying the fear. What is your fear? Write it down, talk about it. Look at what has slowed you from reaching your goals. Look at those things clearly. And if you don't still aren't clear, ask. And it's an ask. It's an honest ask to the universe. Just put it out there. Put it in your own thought process and ask. And if you have to, find a space where you can isolate yourself, get all alone, and actually speak it out. What is holding me back? What is keeping me from my goal? Speak it out. Now, once you've asked the question, wait for the answer. Don't make up the answer. Wait for the answer. Because now, this is a beautiful thing. Your fear becomes your teacher. That thing that you fear can help you grow, can help you develop, can help you push beyond the limits and your limitations to that space of, and hopefully of succeeding and hopefully exceeding the successes that you may have planned. All right? Yes. And hey, Cousin Dell, good to see you here. Thank you for joining. So how do we work on that fear? Once again, use your fear as your teacher. And I have many other practices. Once again, I will start putting up my stuff so that you can join in. And we can work on plans and ways to get you overcoming things and getting you to your success point, whatever that may be. And also, because of my connections and all the things, various things I've done in many different realms. If you ever go to my website and see all the things I've done, I have connections all over the place. So sometimes the thing that slows you down is not being connected. I will start to plug in how you can get to me, other than the 4:30 chat, so we can actually set up a process and schedule a connection and a way we can get you on track to hitting your success points, to finding out how you can fully love you, to find out how you can manifest the positive miracle ready you that's there, and also how you can step into your greatness, whatever that greatness would be. Mr. Murtis, thank you very much for joining me here. Thank you. The answer will come. And once again, today's thing is stepping into your fear, asking your fear to be your teacher. What is it you fear? And then saying, what is it you have to teach me? And if you're not even to the point of understanding your fear, but just saying, what is it that I need? What is it that I need to overcome? What is it that I need to succeed? What is keeping me from my goal, my success, my accomplishment? Every one of us has something, even the greatest. There's a great thing. Usain Bolt. We all know this guy ran real fast, right? If you've ever heard of the law of the lid, you put a cricket in a jar and you put a lid on it. The cricket will jump, hit its head on the lid, and that's as far it knows that's where it's going to go to. You can put it in a bigger jar and that cricket will jump even higher. But as soon as it hits the lid, that's where it goes. And if you keep it in that jar with that lid on it, after a while, you can take off the lid. And the cricket knows not to jump higher than where that lid was. It knows that when it gets to jumps this much, it's going to hit the lid. And it will not go strive for more. It will go, there's a lid there. I use a similar explanation with baby elephants. In order to control a baby elephant, you put a heavy-duty chain on it, and it pulls against that chain. It knows it can't break the chain. When that elephant becomes an adult, you can put a rope around its ankle. When it feels that connection, it knows the chain is on. Even though it could snap the rope easily, it could probably snap the same chain it couldn't snap as a baby, as an adult, but it knew it couldn't, and it locks in. This is as much as I can do. So Usain Bolt, his big key to success, what got him to run to Olympic gold medal standards? He stopped competing against the pack and started competing against himself. He wasn't trying to run faster than everyone else. He was trying to run fast. He just had fun. And he said, so his limitation was what he saw around him. He didn't step inside. And when he did, he ran like no one else ever did before because his competition was himself. He looked at the other guys and watched them run. He watched their strides and their techniques, and he was doing that. He wasn't following his own. He had created his own lid and was stuck with that until he opened up and said, I can do this. So this is a practice that you can begin on your own. Doesn't need to be guided. Or you can come back to this and find this path to finding your success. Then you may say, I don't have the skills. And I'll use this story as well. I was taking voice lessons in San Francisco from a jazz improvisationalist, and I had taken classical voice and done all these other things, and I didn't feel that I had a strong voice. I didn't feel like I had a wonderful voice. And he said, sing, just sing because you love to sing. And I was trying to sing like others were singing. And then he said, what is it about your voice that you don't like? And I said, well, it doesn't sound great. And so he pulled out people. He said, Louis Armstrong, what does he sound like? How's his voice? It wasn't classically trained. It was gravelly, but it was unique and wonderful. Steven Tyler of Aerosmith, he said, listen to that voice. That man just works his way through a song. It doesn't have that classical, doesn't have the musical theater. It's his own unique voice. And then he went through all these pop star singers. He went through a bunch of folks who just we know very well and said, what is so wonderful about their voice? And for each one, I could say what was wonderful about their voice was their freedom. They sang from their soul and they sang from their heart. They weren't trying to sing like Britney Spears, or they weren't trying to sing like Michael Jackson. They were trying to sing like themselves. And when they did, wow, just to be able to open that up. And then he said, you can sing anything. He said, you can sing a police siren, you can sing whatever, because those are sounds that you make. And then he said, I encourage you to stop trying to hear yourself sing and feel yourself sing, because you have it. You're just blocking your own self from singing. And at that point, I just started going. And I would sing everything. And then the other really cool thing, and I might share it with you right now, is when I had my first child, and there's Rockabye Baby in the Treetop. When I was like, no, I like jazz, so I started singing Rockabye Baby in the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bough breaks, that cradle will fall. And down will come baby, down will come baby, cradle and all. What I did was I made it my own. I wasn't trying to sing what others have sung for centuries. I sang what I felt. And I continue to sing what I felt. And I continue to speak and come from the heart. And that's where you break through some of these obstacles. That's when you push aside the fear and you step into a place of vulnerability and you find your successes and you exceed your goals and miracles happen. Alrighty. So thank you for joining me today. I will leave you with this. So I've been working on my book, my latest book, which is all my poems from one year wrapped into one anthology. And this one comes from November 22nd. I will falter until there is nothing left. Nothing more to stumble over. No more down to go. I will get up and rise and rise and know the fullness of living. You're living your one magnificent miracle life. Fear keeps you from really opening up into that miracle space and reaching, exceeding, encountering overflowing joy. You can learn from that fear, and when you do, there is a whole new, amazing world for you. That's where innovation happens. Right now, we're in a space of innovation readiness. We're in a space of creating a normal that's never been seen before, but will become normal. And that can be a healthy, wonderful, miracle ready normalness. And you are preparing for that. Thank you for joining me here today. And please stay safe, be well, and go forward with passion and purpose, knowing that you are enough, that I am enough, that you are enough. Have a great day. Thank you for joining me. Be well.